Good morning, students. Today we are going to start limitations of joint stock company, chapter number 6, OC. Chapter number 6. Limitation of joint stock company. First one is lengthy and expensive incorporation procedure. First point. Second one is legal restrictions. Third point, third important point, autocratic management. Autocratic management. Fourth, difficulty in maintaining secrecy. Difficulty in maintaining secrecy. Then delay in fifth point. Delay in policy decision. And sixth, increase in administrative expenses. Increase in administrative expenses. So any 6 points you can take for explanation. 6 points are limitations of joint stock company. There is lengthy and expensive incorporation procedure. Then second one is legal restrictions. Third one is autocratic management. Fourth, difficulty in maintaining secrecy. Fifth one is delay in policy decision. And sixth, increase in administrative expenses. First, lengthy and expensive incorporation procedure. We all know that before starting business, company needs to obtain certificate of incorporation. And in order to obtain certificate of incorporation, they need to prepare different types of number of books of documents. For example, memorandum of association, article of association, then director's report, then declaration. Different types of documents they are required to prepare. Beside this, they have to fulfill all the legal procedure. They have to pay stamp duty, registration fees for land, registration fees for company. That's why it is a very lengthy and expensive incorporation procedure. According to textbook, the formation procedure of company is lengthy, complicated and expensive as compared to sole proprietorship and partnership. Company has to submit the documents like memorandum, articles before the registrar of company to obtain the certificate of incorporation. In order to obtain certificate of incorporation, various documents company is required to submit like MOA, AOA, director's declaration, like such type of documents are required to be submitted. For this, in order to prepare such type of documents, memorandum of association, article of association, various experts are appointed, and such experts are charging higher fees. It means In joint stock company, the procedure is very lengthy as well as expensive. Legal restrictions. A company comes into existence by law. We all know the company comes into existence by law. So whatever activities are performed, undertaken by a joint stock company, each and every activity must be undertaken, must be implemented according to law or guidelines of SEBI, guidelines of RBI, guidelines of central government, laws enacted by government time to time for company. Such laws, such guidelines, it is compulsory for company to follow all those. Means there is a higher legal restriction in case of joint stock company. A company comes into existence by law. Company has to observe legal provisions during its lifetime. Means right from the beginning till the end of the life of company has to follow each and every legal guidelines issued by government, RBI, SEBI, company law board. The statements, the reports, accounts are to be submitted to registrar of companies regularly at a certain time. Some provisions of SEBI are to be fulfilled. So these are the legal restrictions. They need to prepare. It is compulsory for company to prepare statements, to prepare reports, to prepare accounts regularly, means annually. Third one is autocratic management. Autocratic management. What is autocratic management? We all know that in a company, shareholders are enormous in number, means in large number. Shareholders are in large number. Shareholders are investing money into the company. These are in large number, and these shareholders are spread over the country, all over the country, sometimes across the country. So but it is not possible for such type of shareholders to come into the company and manage the affairs of the company, manage the activities of the company. That's why what they are doing, they are electing few shareholders among themselves as their representatives, and such representatives are called directors. And group of directors is called board of directors. Now board of directors knows very well, they know that we have to undertake all the activities. That's why sometimes what happens, they all means board of directors or group of directors very know that whatever activities they are performing in the company, all shareholders are not going to ask them. That's why sometimes they are taking decisions for their own benefit. That is called autocratic management. Means they are making policies, they are taking decisions in such a manner which gives maximum advantage to this board of directors or directors. That is called autocratic management. Means they are not making policies, they are not thinking about the benefit of shareholders, they are not thinking about the benefit of company, they are not thinking about the benefit of society. They are making such policies which gives maximum advantage to these board of directors only. That time, such type of management is called autocratic management. According to textbook, though many rights are entrusted to the members by law, they enjoyed a nominal power due to the voting right per share. Some persons gets control through groupism and impose their desires. They use companies' money, assets, secret information for their personal interest and selfishness. Means when the resources of the company, money, experts are utilized for the benefit, for their own benefit, then in that case that is called autocratic management. That is not given in your textbook, especially we are talking about directors. Autocratic management means who is managing the company? Board of directors has the power, highest power to manage the company. So when they are, and they all means whatever number of directors are there in the company, they all know very well that shareholders are scattered all over the country. They are not able to come regular in company. That's why, and we have the power to take decision. We have the power to manage the company. That's why number of times it may be possible that they are making such policies which may give maximum benefit to themselves. I mean, they are making policy in such a manner which gives benefit to board of directors. That time such management is called autocratic management. Difficulty in maintaining secrecy, obviously. Number of directors are there, shareholders are enormous in number. That's why it is not possible to maintain secrecy in case of joint stock company, as in case of sole proprietorship owner can do. In case of sole proprietorship, owner can keep secret because he is the only person in the business. But so far as joint stock company is concerned, number of directors are there, shareholders are enormous in number. Other persons are also there, administrative officers like chartered accountant, company secretary, solicitors. That's why it is very difficult for joint stock company to maintain secrecy. Next one is a delay in policy decision. No doubt, as compared to sole proprietorship and partnership, there is a delay in policy decision. Reason, in case of joint stock company, we have already studied that joint stock company has to perform all their activities according to legal procedure. That's why before taking decision, they have to conduct a meeting. Either it is shareholders meeting or sometimes director meetings. So first of all, they need to conduct a meeting, and before conducting meeting, they need to send notice to different individuals. For example, there is shareholders meeting. There is a shareholders meeting, and on some important matters they want to discuss and take final decision. So first of all, they need to send notice at least 21 days before the meeting. After sending notice, then meeting will be conducted on that particular day, and all legal procedure are required to be followed during the meeting. For example, they need to prepare minutes book. We will discuss later on minutes book. Then agenda they need to discuss. Thus, after long discussion, a final decision is taken, and that final decision is called a resolution. Means in order to take decision, company has to pass a resolution in the meeting. Either it is the meeting of shareholder or it is the meeting of directors. It means there is a delay in policy decision. Increase in administrative expense, no doubt. Joint stock company is based on large scale. They had taken money from general public in the form of share or in the form of debenture. That's why it is the moral responsibility of the company to increase the wealth of the shareholder, or if they had taken amount from debenture holders, then it is the responsibility of company to pay interest on time. Shareholder में शेयर की वैल्यू बढ़ाने की जवाबदारी रहती है कंपनी की. In case of debenture holder, they need to pay interest because debenture is a kind of loan. We will discuss later on. It is a kind of loan on which company is required to pay interest regularly. That's why company, this is the responsibility of company to meet all their commitment with stakeholders, either it is shareholder or debenture holders. That's why for this purpose they are required to appoint various experts in different fields. For example, chartered accountant, they need to appoint company secretary who will handle all the management of the company according to law. Then solicitors who are preparing documents, different documents. Underwriters who are taking the risk to purchase a share if shares are not sold in the open market. Various experts are appointed in the company, and these experts are experts. They have expertise knowledge in different fields. Then with their opinions, with their suggestions, with the help of their expertise knowledge, company is making policies or taking major decisions for the benefit of company and for the benefit of various stakeholders. But these experts, company has to spend a huge amount in the form of remuneration or salary. Thus, we can say that joint stock company, this is one of the limitation, that in joint stock company, administration expense is very high. In this way, characteristics, advantages and limitations of joint stock company is completed. Now next, page number 63, types of company. Types of company. Now types of company, it is given on page number 63. First, A, stationery company. B, first one is types of company. A, stationery company. Then B, from the viewpoint of number of members. From the viewpoint of number of members. Then C, from the viewpoint of control. From the viewpoint of control. And fourth one is third, A, B, C. Now D, from the point of place of registration. From the point of place of registration. Total 4 types of companies are there. Statutory companies, from the viewpoint of number of members. Then from the viewpoint of control, and from the point of place of registration. First, statutory meeting has no types. Second, from the viewpoint of number of members, it is of 3 types: public company. Second one is private company. And third one is single person company. These are 3 types of companies on the basis of number of members. Then public company has also various types. First, company limited by share. Company limited by shares. Second, company limited by guarantee. Company limited by guarantee. And third one is company by unlimited liabilities. In the same way, private company has also 3 types: company limited by share capital, same; company limited by guarantee; and company by unlimited liability, same. First, then second, then third. And single person company has no types. Now, statutory company has no types on the basis of number of members. Total there are 3 types of companies: public company, private company, and single person company or one person company. Single public company has three types: company limited by shares or share capital, company limited by guarantee, and then company by unlimited liability. Same three types of companies are also present in private company. Means private company is also of three types: 1, 2, 3. Company limited by share capital, company limited by guarantee, company by unlimited liability. Now from the viewpoint of control, on the basis of control, again it is of three types. One is holding company. Second one is subsidiary company, and third one is government company. Holding company, subsidiary company, government company. From the viewpoint of place of registration, first one is Indian company, and second one is foreign company. These are the different types of, so try to learn all this chart. Different types of companies exist in India. Statutory company, then on the basis of number of members, on the basis of control, and on the basis of place of registration. Statutory company has no types. On the basis of number of members, it is of three types: public company, private company, single person company. Public company and private company also has three types: company limited by share capital, company limited by guarantee, and third one is company by unlimited liability. Single person company has no types. Now third, on the basis of control, holding company, subsidiary company, and government company, and on the basis of place of registration, Indian company and foreign company. These are the different types of companies exist in India. Now first of all, statutory company, one by one I am explaining. Statutory companies, it comes into existence by special law of parliament. Means such type of companies are getting permission, or they are established by taking decision in parliament. It comes into existence by special law of parliament or legislative assembly at state level. For example, Reserve Bank of India, Life Insurance Corporation of India, these are statutory company. In order to establish RBI, in order to establish or nationalize Life Insurance Corporation, a special law is passed in the parliament, and on the basis of majority of voting, such institutions are nationalized. That is called a statutory company. Now from the viewpoint of number of members, public company first. Now what is public company? As per the Companies Act, a company which is not a private company, public company which is not a private company, such company is called public company. Once again, as per Companies Act, according to Companies Act, definition of public company is company which is not a private company. Such companies are called public company, in which minimum 7 members are necessary, and there is no restrictions on maximum number of members. This company can give invitation to general public to purchase its shares and debentures. There is no restrictions on transfer of shares. There are three types of public company from the viewpoint of liability of members. Once again, what are the main features of public company? Minimum number of members are 7, maximum there is no restrictions, and such companies, public companies, can raise funds by issuing shares, by issuing debentures to general public. Third, whatever shares they are issuing to general public, such shares are transferable. Next, three types of public company now: company limited by shares, company limited by guarantee, and company by unlimited liability. These are the three types of public company on the basis of liability. Means, what is the liability of member if they are the member of company limited by share? What is the liability of members if such members are the members of company limited by guarantee? And what is the liability of members if they are the members of company by unlimited liability? First, if members are the members of the company which is limited by share. So whatever number of shares purchased by a particular member, only up to that amount, up to the value of share, he is required to pay. Once again, yesterday I had given example that if I had purchased 500 shares and value of share is 10, it means total I need to pay 5,000, means my liability is maximum up to 5,000. That is called company limited by share. Next, company limited by guarantee. If in case of company limited by guarantee, such companies are not issuing shares. They are only taking a promise from different investors for paying a certain amount. For example, I am interested in investing 10,000 rupees in such type of company. Means I had promised to pay 10,000 rupees. It means from my side there is a guarantee to pay 10,000 rupees to that particular company. It means my liability is maximum up to 10,000 rupees, means guaranteed amount. So here the liability member is only up to the guaranteed amount. In first case, the liability member is up to the number of shares purchased by them. And in case of company by unlimited liability, as the name indicates, the liability of members in such type of company is unlimited. Unlimited liability, you all know very well. Now private company, what is private company? And private company also has three types: company limited by shares, explanation is same, but what is private company? First of all, the private company is a company which has minimum 2 members. In case of public company, minimum 7 members. In case of private company, minimum 2 members. And maximum 200 members. In private company, maximum 200 members. There is a restrictions on transfer of shares of private company. Means whatever members become of the private company, such members cannot transfer their interest, their ownership from one person to another person. Means here transfer of ownership is not possible. It cannot invite general public to purchase its shares or debentures. They are also issuing shares, but only for 200 members, not for general public. There are three types of private company. First one is company limited by share capital. The liability of members is limited up to the face value of share purchased by member. Limited private company has to add the word private limited at the end of its name. Private limited, it is compulsory to add private limited word at the end of the name of the company. Then company limited by guarantee, they need to add private. If company is limited by share, then private limited. And if company is limited by guarantee, then only private word is compulsory to add at the end of the name. And unlimited, again only private. But what is company with unlimited liability means? We all know, we had already explained number of times. But what is compulsory? That in case of company limited by guarantee and in case of company with unlimited liability, both types of company is required to add private word at the end of its name. But if company is limited by share capital, in case of private company, then it is compulsory for them to add private limited at the end of the name of the company. One person company. Next, one person company means a company in which one person is a member. One person company, name of this name indicates one person company or single person company, that there is only one person. One person company can enter into the contract with the director who is its member. A written consent of such person is essential in one person company. In addition to the memorandum and articles are to be presented before the registrar of companies at the time of incorporation of company. There was no provision for one person company in the Companies Act 1956, but a private company can be one person company as per the provision of Companies Act 2013. Means last two line, try to understand last two line. Earlier former act means according to Companies Act 1956, there was no place, no rules for one person company. When we are talking about one-person company, it is private company, not public company. It is also a private company, but it is controlled, managed by one person, the single person company. But means in Companies Act 1956, no provisions, no rules were made regarding one person company, but this company has given place in the new provisions of Companies Act 2013. Last two line. But a private company can be, not public company, private company can be one person company as per the provision of Companies Act 2013. And since it is a private company, that's why they are also required to follow all the procedure which are applicable in private company also. This is called one person company. Hey time.